Welcome everyone to another episode of Before the Bell, where every morning before market open we dive in, we see what the pre-markets are doing, talk about my stock picks on what I'm going to be trading throughout the day, as well as what we expect the market to do. Now settle in because there's a lot going on today and you're not going to want to miss what I got to say. So, the Fed's going to come out. Jerome Powell is supposed to come out and speak at about 2:30 today, and that is going to affect the market. Whatever comes out of his mouth is going to either tank the market or give it a boost up. So the question is, what is he going to come out and say? And I can't see the future, so all I can go on is how I think the mentality is going to be. A lot of people are saying that because interest rates are still climbing, that Jerome's going to have to come out and be more hawkish and maybe introduce a 75-point rate hike. And I don't know. I kind of think that he's not. And I'm going to give you my reasoning for that. And that is, the Fed is responsible for trying to keep America strong, our dollar strong. At least that's what they're supposed to be there for. We could go into a whole rant of maybe why the Fed shouldn't even exist, but that's a whole nother video. The fact of it is, they pumped billions of dollars into the stock market to keep it up during COVID. And even though they need to get inflation under control, they don't want to just tank the market. You know, they're responsible for GDP growth and just overall mental state of America's well-being when it comes to finances. So I think that they know the stock market's already really pulling back, and that if he comes out and is overly hawkish, that it's going to send the market in a further downward spiral. Now, if he does come out and says he's going to do 75 points, I think the market's already built that in, assuming that he will. But it doesn't mean that the market's still not going to go lower if he does, so be prepared for that. However, if he comes out and he's a little more dovish and he maintains the 50 basis point, he understands monetary policy. He understands they've implemented these rate hikes, but rate hikes take time to start working. And he may just come out and give the market, give these rate hikes the time that they need to start working. So he could come out and say, no, we're going to hold with these 50 basis points. We're going to give it some time. We're going to give it a couple of months to really start working, and hopefully we'll see inflation numbers coming down, which I think would be good for the market because, again, I believe it's already pulled back more than enough for 75 basis points. So if he comes out and confirms that we're only going to do the 50 that he had talked about before, then I see the market getting a good little pop. Now the market's already want to be green. In the pre-market, the SPY is already up 0.89%. So nearly 1% up this morning already. Most of my watch list here is green. So the markets are wanting to be good. And I look for them to kind of come out and start good. Now, where you're going to want to be careful trading today, if you're day trading like I am, is the markets are liable to come out and be really good leading up to him coming out and speaking at 2:30 and tanking the closer to 2:30 that we get. So we might start high and start falling the closer to 2:30 that we get. And then once he comes out, we'll either have a little sell-off or a rally. So we want to play it accordingly, knowing that that's likely how it's going to go. The past few times he's come out and spoke, that's the way the market's behaved for me. So I want you to be prepared for that and make your trades accordingly. So let's get into a couple of stocks I want to talk about today. And the first of which is IMPP, which has just been absolutely disappointing yesterday. I'm not trading this stock at the moment. I went ahead and got out of it a couple of days ago. We talked about it on this channel. I sold, made good profit, and I've been waiting for a good entry point again. Now, it's been pulling back, and I'm waiting to see if it's pulling back down to its lows where it was before we rallied because of these warrants, or if we're still going to get some volume in here. Right now, volume's died off considerably, and we're sitting in the pre-market in the red, down right at 60 cents. So really disappointed. I don't know why they decided to issue the warrants when they did. We was just getting ready to get a good pump, I believe, out of IMPP. I believe we should be getting close to $2 now if they hadn't have done that. If you know why they did it, please leave it in the comments below, because I can't find it. But if you are out there, if you are trading IMPP, I'm just sitting back waiting. If you've already got a position in it, could be a good time to start averaging down a little at a time, because even though we are at 60 cents now, we could rally hard and run back up toward $1, or we could start pulling back closer to that 50-cent line that we seen just a couple of weeks ago. So that's my take on IMPP. A couple of stocks I'm going to be looking at trading today, and the first of which is going to be Volta, and that is ticker symbol VLTA. Now, Volta is one of the charging stations for EV cars, and the reason I'm choosing it as a trade today is yesterday ChargePoint had a good day. It was up 3.5% on the day. EVgo, another major charging station out there, it was up almost 1.5% yesterday. It had a good day, and yet Volta tanked almost 5%. And on no real news, it just didn't have the volume to push it up yesterday. And so it is up in the pre-market just a little bit. However, I believe there's a good potential trade in there. Even if we just have an early morning pop, I do believe that there's a good chance to get into Volta. It's currently trading around $1.59. I could see this pumping and trying to get it back up into the green. I think there's a good trade there to be made. And the other stock I wanted to talk about is AMD. Now, AMD, they're a chip manufacturer. They've been beaten down really bad lately. In fact, on the daily chart, we've had 5 consistent days of drops. We've had 5 red days straight in a row, and we got a pretty good little wick off of the drop yesterday. So that means it dropped down and then pulled back up like it wanted to go green, couldn't quite get there. So I'm looking at taking a position in AMD this morning, because I really do believe that we're overdue for a little pop out of it. And I think there could be some good money to be made. In the pre-market, we're trading right at $87, $87.50. So it's not an overly expensive stock. And if we just got a decent little pop, I could see us going back up toward at least the 92 range, which would be a good little percentage gain on our investment. So we'll be looking at AMD real hard this morning. And again, if you're wanting to go with a really safe, really solid company, Apple is still in our trading range. We've talked about Apple on here a lot. We're right down there, close to that 133 mark that we like to buy at. 132.5, 133. We usually get a little bit of pop out of that. We kind of bottomed out yesterday. We had 2 days in a row where we wicked down right at $131.50. Now, I believe we're going to get a pop out of it today. So even up a little bit higher today, I could see this thing climbing. If we have a good morning, at least upwards toward dinner, I could see this thing climbing $136, $137. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball, and remember, I am not a financial advisor, so anything I say is not a suggestion for you to buy, hold, or sell. I'm simply telling you what I'm looking at doing with my money and how I'm going to be trading today, so that you can follow along, start to get the confidence, get on your platform, paper trade with me, get that confidence of where to buy in, where to exit out, so that when you start trading, when you put your hard-earned money in there, you don't see it just disappear. You start adding to it and growing that portfolio, growing that trading portfolio, so that you can diversify out into some long-term portfolios as well. That's kind of what I got for you this morning. Be sure to come back. We'll talk about what Chairman Powell comes out and says. We'll see where the markets end up today. Hopefully we end up with a big rally today and a lot of money to be made. It's going to be a volatile day, so there is going to be money to be made out there. You just got to watch your list. You got to look at these stocks, look for the numbers, see where the volume is. And remember, we never trade with our emotions around here. We always trade by the numbers.